Okay, for the next part, we are going to look at how we can loop over a list. For this one, we're going to use PyCharm, and we'll add a new Python file to our project. Let's call it list underline loop. Okay. First of all, we're going to create a list. Let's stick to our Pokemons. The first one, Pikachu. Second one, Mewtwo. And the third one, let's choose another one. What other Pokemons do we have? Groudon. And one more, and Gurdurr. All right, so we got 4 Pokemons. Now, let's loop over them. We already know how to do a loop, right? We can do this with 4. 4 Pokemon in Pokemons. Now, if you look at the first thing is a variable we choose. The second one is the name of the list you can see here. And we just print this one out. Now let's test it. We right click on the file and then click on Run List Loop. As you can see down the bottom here, each one of them is printed out nice on a new line. Pokemon here is the variable we print out. Why? Because this for loop will make Pokemon equal to each element in the list one by one. Now that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is, let's make a new file and let's call it list loop another way. And let's copy our Pokemon. And we don't have to type it all over again. Another way to do it is by using each of the indexes. Remember, by doing Pokemons, for example, 0, we can print out each element. Let's do this for 2 elements. The first, which is element 0, and the second, which is element 1. Now we run this again. Go to list loop another way and press run. It comes out. But what if we had 100 Pokemons? That would be very tiresome to type it all in. So what we do, we add a for loop. And earlier we also learned how to know how many elements there are in the list. So if you do print len Pokemons and you run this, you will see the number 4 appearing here. So now that we know these 2 things, we can actually do the for loop, which we learned last week. For number, which is a variable that we choose, in, and then range from 0 to where? From 0 to 4. But we choose to use length Pokemons because that's how long the list is. And then we can just print it out by doing Pokemons, and instead of having to type every index, we just type number here. Now, let's get rid of this part. And let's try it again. Run. Once you've run the file for one time, you can always go back here to run. And as you can see, the same thing happens as with our other loop. Both ways are okay, it depends on what kind of program you write. Sometimes we're gonna need this way, sometimes we're gonna need this way. Practice them both.